is hilarious.
Unsung narrative, young dumb American, arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face said I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, and we're hanging out with the fellas. A little sports nonsense and whiskey for you. Robert, Pinky, cheers, my guys. How we doing?
I'm alive. I've been sick battling this cold. So this is the most I've felt put together in 5 days.
Good.
So,
Good.
And welcome you back to the land of living. We'll be glad to have you back.
oh, I'm looking forward to being back in the office. And it's the epic night. It's the Andor finale, boys. It's the final week. It's hyped. So, Caleb, Pinky, you're on a clock before I just start going off without your guys' permission. So I'm just gonna put that out there.
Don't wait on me, man. Don't wait on me.
Well, I'm going to talk about it on the show, so like that's going to be a topic, so we can make some reels. But these are some good things. Star Wars Gilroy has set an expectation. I'm
They've
excited to
done
see
what I've been hoping they would do for damn near 30 years. So
these last 3 episodes are supposed to be the most brutal of Star Wars has ever done. So I'm ready. But that's for later. We'll save that for the fun segments of nerdiness. But what's up with you guys? How was your guys' this weekend since I did not have one? And Mother's Day.
It was mainly Mother's Day was the focus of the weekend.
Which happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there that may tune in or not. Who knows? Appreciate you all.
We're worldwide.
We are. So appreciate you all. But I have.
Does
I have
everybody
an
celebrate
IOU.
Mother's Day, or is that an American thing?
No, everybody saw now. I think it's there on different days, if I remember right. Like Germany has different days, but that's neither here nor there. I still wish my stepmother happy Mother's Day, and she was happy with it, so we're good.
Solid.
So I had an IOU for my mother this weekend, so I gotta take her out to dinner or something because I feel like a terrible son.
Man, sometimes life says you're gonna be sick. It doesn't really care when that happens.
I'd rather it be this weekend than next weekend because Mission Impossible, baby.
Is that already? Yeah, that is next weekend. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch Mission Impossible and then go up into the mountains with the wife. I'm ready. Memorial Day weekend. It's our anniversary. We're gonna have a good time. Backlash. We won't go into it a lot. Backlash was awesome.
It was
Camp
not.
retained. It was good, man. It
was not.
For a PLE. It's probably
for a PLE.
7.
It was not.
Yeah,
For a Friday Night SmackDown, it would have been okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was better than you think.
What Raw should be. It was not good, Pinky. Like let's not fanboy here. Let's be honest with the situation that we saw.
That's not
we've seen
fanboy.
Pat McAfee have far better matches and do way more athletic things and be way more involved than what we saw with Gunther.
So,
like that alone basically summed up the evening.
I don't know what happened to where they thought this is the match to me that just felt out of place. Like, and if you had this match second, turn off your TV, man. If you had this match second, we're good with it.
Yeah.
But having it, right before the main event, it felt out of place. And really all it did is basically Pat McAfee got his feels for being in the ring. I know he enjoys getting in the ring. And then they continue to make Gunther look. They made him look strong because he just beat the hell out of McAfee. Made McAfee look good that he kept taking that ass whooping. But yeah, I was not overly excited about. I was excited for that match until I watched it, and I was like, well, here's just a bigger guy beating the crap out of a smaller guy. And the smaller guy's getting some licks, and the small guy keeps getting up. So there was some of that. Like I did feel like they kind of built like some of that emotion into it. But yeah, I that was not my favorite match. And then I will say the Penta Dominic match, I felt like we'd already seen that before. That felt like a Raw match. But I did enjoy the other matches. I thought the opening match with Fatu and LA Knight and Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, although they took themselves out of the match, was fun and entertaining. I did think the Lyra and Becky Lynch match was really good. And then I think we got exactly what we wanted out of Randy Orton and Cena. Nostalgia. They hit all their finishers. Randy RKO'd everybody, which was awesome. John Cena had to cheat to win, which is exactly what we wanted. And I thought, for as rushed as that match was, I thought they did a pretty good job with it myself. So I was happy. I was entertained.
Okay.
Sometimes that's all that matters, Caleb. I was entertained.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. It was entertaining for a Saturday night. But...
Right, and I didn't take it too seriously. Now, if SummerSlam was that way, I'm going to have an issue with it. But for Backlash, and as close as Backlash was to WrestleMania, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. So I think that's maybe why I enjoyed it more.
I mean,
I
even
got
WrestleMania
a little bit more.
Was ho hum.
There was some good stuff in WrestleMania. I know the overall of it, I would agree. It's not as the Night of Champions that we expected it to be.
We're missing
the Night of the Immortals.
That it factor, that beat drop, that something, that thing, that there's just something that doesn't quite raise the bar here since Netflix took over. And I don't quite know what it is that's missing per se, but there is something.
And that's funny because the Raw before Backlash was probably the best Raw episode. Ron and I talked about that. That was probably the best episode of the Netflix era so far. So, at least they were, able to show that they can do it when they put their mind to it. So we'll see. I know we got some more stuff to talk about, but that was like wrestling was Saturday night, Mother's Day Sunday, and then it was back to work again. It went way too quick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There are other things on Saturday. It just happened to be the Backlash happened to be right in between basketball. Like that's the other thing. Like, why are you starting a PLE at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday? Like, what are we doing?
It was at 5.
You know what I mean.
So I went from that to, and then I had a friend reach out and say, "Hey, let's go to the bar. I could use a drink, and we could watch the last 2 UFC fights." So we went and did that, and that was fun. It was a good time.
Totally forgot there was a UFC fight this weekend. Obviously,
yeah, Bilal
on the card.
Bilal was fighting a guy who was like the 5th ranked fighter in the division, and another one of those fights where I felt like the champ did enough to keep the belt, and the judges felt the other way.
His face says otherwise.
Yeah, but that dude got rocked multiple times as well. Like, this was a pretty even.
I didn't say Bilal didn't get his hits in, but he got hit more. His lip was split wide open. He had a giant gash on his forehead. Like, the other guy looked beat up, but he wasn't cut open multiple times. Like, there are differences, you know what I mean? So, you say the champ didn't do enough to lose, didn't do enough to win. I say the guy did enough it was a battle, and he beat the champ up more. And you have said yourself, if that happens, then the champ should lose because they didn't do enough to keep the belt. If you're the champ, you should show I don't want to say a dominant fight, but you should show like that majority rules kind of thing. Like it should
to
feel like
me,
you won it still.
To me, I saw it being Bilal or at the very least a split decision, and it was not. The judges went completely the other way. I get it, but I didn't see it that way. The bar did not see it that way. Most of the bar thought Bilal had won as well. So,
well,
I
they
guess,
probably put money on the favorite, and they lost money, and that's their fault for not knowing what
no,
was
wait,
going on.
people at Good Company ain't betting on the fights, bro. Let's get real. That old crowd wasn't betting on the fights, so they know what they saw. And again, I didn't think this was egregious. I wasn't all pissed off about it. I saw it the other way. So we'll see how the next round of fights go. But boys, I know we've got a guest coming on later. We've got some NBA to talk about. We got some golf to talk about. But I think we got to talk a little bit of football, fellas. Football season is around the corner. And the NFL does a great job, right? At the draft, they announce, hey, schedule release will be May 14th. They make it this big event. Now, I've got to say, and this may be the old man get off my lawn, but when you make it an event, I don't like these daily releases of certain games. I don't like it. I'd rather you have it announced all at once. That's why you have a 3-hour NFL Total Access show, schedule release show, to go through it all, right? I just don't know if I like the, hey, okay, this game's going to be on this game. Oh, tomorrow we're announcing all the international games. And again, that might just be me, but I thought I would like to have it all at once versus because you're making it a big deal to get the schedule release. So don't have all these leaks of all the games early.
I'm noticing a trend here, Pinky, that you just can't have everything just be drip fed to you. You just got to have it all up in your face. There's no enjoyment. That's sad.
Let's take it a step further. You want to be old man get off my lawn, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this is what the NFL has done to us. This man here is telling you that this is worth talking about, but by week 5, whatever game he's about to talk about will be the turd game he says we aren't going to talk about, and then still end up somehow talking about it either that week or the week after. So it really doesn't matter. The San Francisco 49ers have the easiest schedule based on last year's record of the teams they're playing. The Buffalo Bills have one of the easiest. So, like, take it with a grain of salt, like, if you want to go look at it and see, like, when your team's playing and who they're playing, cool. Above and beyond that, at this time of the season, before training camps even started, like, you're asking quite a bit of things. So, just keep all those things in mind as we go through this. That's all I'm saying.
So,
cheers, Pinky.
Cheers. Now they have announced the opening game, and I think we had a post on it that we've got the Dallas Cowboys heading to Philly to face the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds!
Who thought this was a good idea?
I mean, the NFL.
Well, obviously, but the Cowboys are gonna.
You've got the Super Bowl champs.
Oh yeah.
And then the Cowboys are a big draw regardless. So it was an opportunity to put them against a division opponent in week 1. They typically put, or at least the last couple of years, it's been the Cowboys and the Giants on Sunday Night Football, which typically we get the Cowboys just fucking destroying the Giants. Like, it's just been murder. So it's not even fun to watch. Like, it's a Sunday night game. You want an entertaining game. You just don't want the Cowboys kicking the crap out of somebody. So sure. I know last year they kicked the crap out of the Browns midday. That was kind of weird. But, in the past it had been the Cowboys-Giants week 1, and it's usually a train wreck for the Giants. What are your thoughts on that one, Caleb? You like that opening game? There was a couple different options they had.
I think it can be a very entertaining game. I still believe Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. I think there's a possibility that Dallas tweaked their O-line enough that it's going to be healthy and solid. it's also a possibility that it could be just wholly and disrespectful. But we'll see. Running game, who knows? They've got a couple vets back there. They've got a rookie. There's some things there possibly. I think bringing George Pickens in was huge. We all believe he's super talented. So if his head's in the game, playing on the other side of CeeDee Lamb, and Ferguson has been a really solid tight end, especially when Dak's back behind center. Dallas could have a really solid offense that could put Philly on their heels a little bit. Are we going to say Dallas's defense can keep up with Philly's defense? Then I think we're talking a little cray-cray. So I still see Philly winning. But yeah, I mean, week 1 of the season, you get the defending Super Bowl champs. You get a divisional game that actually means something. As I've talked about, there's only, 2 or 3 divisions that actually have rivalries. Everybody else is just make-believe. So it should be entertaining. I think Philly ends up kind of rolling towards the end of the game there a little bit and walks away with it slightly, but entertaining nonetheless.
So there's been a few games that were announced. That was the first one. They did announce Monday Night Football, Week 10. Eagles will go to Green Bay. So another Eagles primetime game. I thought they had an enjoyable game to start the year last year, so this should be fun in Green Bay. They did announce Week 13. It's Black Friday. The Bears will go to Philadelphia. Another primetime game for Philly.
That one could be
Imagine that.
really interesting because I truly believe the Bears are going to be a top 5 offense this year.
They could be.
They've
With
got
Ben Johnson?
weapons. I think Caleb Williams showed quite a bit of promise given all the things he had to deal with last year as a rookie quarterback. And now their new head coach knows what he's doing by all accounts, and Ben Johnson. So I don't see why they're not at least right on that verge. So that could be really interesting, especially later in the season.
And then we've got another Eagles game, Week 16, Eagles versus Commanders on Saturday of right before Christmas. And then they announced Green Bay and Chicago will also play on that Saturday in Chicago. So that, again, that's a rivalry that we love to see. That should be a lot of fun. And then the other game they announced before they announced the international games, the Broncos will go play the Chiefs on Christmas Day, which I kind of love it and hate it. I like seeing the Broncos play in primetime. I don't like seeing I don't like seeing anybody have to go play in Arrowhead on Christmas. I don't like that they've kind of capitalized on that. It's not quite like official, but I think this is the 3rd year in a row the Chiefs are having a game in Arrowhead on Christmas. So I think this
you gotta
is a
play on a
trend.
holiday, make it a home game, right?
Hey, you never answered the question. Are we celebrating Christmas at your house or Andy's?
To be determined on Andy's work schedule, man. I think he works on holidays.
Got it.
I mean, that is a Thursday, so technically I guess he's off. So I guess we could do Andy's maybe. We'll have to see.
All right.
We got some time to plan though. And then we had the international slate of games. I think you guys did you post that earlier, Caleb, today? I think you did.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know you are still not a fan of the international games, if I'm quoting you properly.
No, I'm good with them now.
Okay. There was a time
I
you
don't
were
like
not.
that it takes a home game away from the home fans, but I do like how into the games the international fans are, and the fact that you get that drawing a blank on the word I'm looking for, but like that exposure for the game, that global reach
I believe in this case, because it's a 17-game season now, and certain teams get 9 home games and the rest get 8. I believe a lot of these teams have 9, so the home teams internationally are technically still getting 8 in the States, I believe. I'd have to research that a little bit more, but I think that is the case now that we've got each year some teams actually have 9 home games. So The one thing I wanted to point out here that I thought is really interesting, and I heard some I don't know if they would be rumors, but maybe just some thoughts. The Vikings are playing 2 weeks in a row overseas,
Dublin and then England.
Dublin and then England,
London,
and
I should say.
that's the first time that's happened. Now Jacksonville played 2 weeks in a row in the UK. So that's been done, but it hasn't been done where you play in 2 separate countries in 2 different weeks. Now, the
It's
thought
wild.
that people had was, is this starting to test the idea and the ability to have a team in London? Possibly.
I mean, you say what you want, no matter what, the logistics of it don't work right now. The way our travel works, the way airplanes work and stuff, unless you're going to fly them all in some F-16s individually, like, it's not really a feasible thing because of how long it takes for the travel.
I think you need
and the time difference and everything. It just there's nothing about it that works. Sorry.
I think you need more than one team in Europe. I think you would need like 3 or 4. So then you could have a team, teams come over, they play a game, then they play another game, then they go home. And then, these international teams come over here and they play 2 straight weeks or, so that there's not the constant travel back and forth. Logistical nightmare. I agree.
That's still like the logistics of that are absurd. You're not just going from state to state, you're going from country to country. So you're still having to go through customs everywhere. You're having to redo hotels and plans. Like,
those guys fly private, bro. They don't go through customs.
You just do it like F1 does, and they got it dialed in.
Well, yeah, but that's still, even F1, 3 weeks and then they take a week break. 3 weeks and then they take a week break. Like, you're not doing that with football.
No.
And this is something that, look, F1 is way more demanding on the body than people want to realize because of the G-forces you put in and things of that nature. But it's not a 30-mile-per-hour car crash consistently over and over and over, right? Like, and then getting on an airplane to fly and go somewhere, you're not getting treatment. And if you are truly injured, getting on a plane is bad for said treatment and recovery. Like, there's just, again, the logistics of it just don't work. And it's not that it wouldn't be cool, Pinky, because the idea of having 3 or 4 teams over there and then you make a hop and you do 3 weeks over there, play all 3 and come stateside, and then they come over, they could play those 3 weeks at home, then they could go back, they could go to the States and play 3 weeks, then they could come back and do another, like, you could flip it, but you're doing, that's a lot of travel on people, and a lot of, you're not going to see people at their best then either because of just the travel and the wear that takes on the body going from one time zone to the other. And it's brutal right now. If you can cut that flight time down to, say, from East Coast to Europe into 3 hours instead of the 6 or 7, then I think you're talking. Then I think that's West Coast to East Coast. You can do a swing a lot easier. It starts making more sense. But man, that length of just that one flight over is a full day's worth of travel. You know what I mean? So it's brutal. But I do like, the international support that we've seen over the last couple of years, and not just for the teams playing, but you'll see people in every jersey imaginable.
Yeah,
just
I
trying
love
to show
that.
their love for players or teams or the NFL in general, and that's fun to watch as well. So I'm good with it. I think there's some things that still need to be worked out, but overall, not terrible.
I like it. So we'll have the full schedule release. So by the time we get back together next week, we will know. We'll know all the games. We'll know where. We'll know when. You'll know when Pinky's going to Seattle. It's going to be a good time.
I like it. With that being said, I think it's time we do a little golf conversation here with the PGA Championship coming up Thursday. One of the 4 majors. It has been moved from the last major of the season up to the second major of the season, which is really weird still, and I don't like it. But we'll let the guests come on and discuss a little bit more and see what he has to say about the situation.
Let's go, Cotton.
Welcome, our good man Cotton Chase, the best there is. Let's see what he has to say about these lovely events coming this Thursday. Sir, cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Boys,
Cheers.
Get it.
am I in?
You're in.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. I can't see myself, but I'm sure I look great.
You look amazing, and you've got the right hat on tonight. You've got the right hat on. I just noticed that we're all wearing Nuggets hats.
Yeah.
And the Nuggets just came back.
Need
They
all
were
the
down
help they
big.
can get.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So whatever I can do to harness my help. I don't know if the hat will do it, but I mean, we'll see.
I love it. Yeah, we're slightly homers here, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Let's talk some golf.
So, do it up. What is going on here?
You guys hear me okay? Well, we are making the return to Quail Hollow, old South Carolina. You got a lot of firepower this week. So, there's going to be some low scores that are shot, and yeah, I think that leaderboard is going to be crowded with a lot of very familiar names.
So let's start there with familiar names and the last champion winner and Mr. Career Grand Slam now in Rory McIlroy. How do you see him playing this week, and is his name going to be one of those big names on the leaderboard Sunday afternoon?
I think that kind of depends on Rory's mindset. There's no more pressure now, right? Like, he's mission accomplished. He got the Career Grand Slam. Hats off to him. That was really, really cool to watch. And so there's no pressure anymore, right? So, if he just goes out and plays golf, he's going to be up there like he always is. He's too good not to, and without the added pressure of just going out and playing the game and, beating the guys that he can, like, I think you're going to have a pretty good showing from Rory. Scotty just absolutely fell into form last week, dominated the field, wasn't even close from the jump. And, he's tough to bet against right now, for sure, man. But this is also his first time at Quail Hollow playing this tournament. So he's played the course in the President's Cup before, so it's not like he's never seen the course, but he's never played this course in this tournament. So typically, rookies don't fare as well, but I mean, he's far from a rookie, but you know what I mean. It's the first time playing the course in these tournament conditions, so he will be interesting to watch. But I think it's very fair to say that after his last performance, I'm sorry, not last week, 2 weeks ago, he just absolutely dialed it in. He couldn't miss, and he looked like the Scotty that we've all been waiting to see thus far this season.
I love hearing that, because that means we should see some fireworks Sunday afternoon, hopefully. That being said, two names that both kind of not necessarily came out of nowhere, but were young guns, were hot, and then almost disappeared. Constantly seem to tease us like, oh, there's that 1 week where maybe they're going to get back to form, and then it's just not good for a while again. And then out of nowhere, you get where I'm going with this. I'm talking about JT and Spieth. And the real interesting thing is Spieth came out recently and talked about how seeing Rory win the Career Grand Slam and the PGA being the one he's missing to accomplish the same feat kind of reinvigorated him, re-energized him in a sense that he said, I know it's still possible for me to do things in my career. Do you think
Sure.
either one of them, both playing actually kind of well right now, could do anything this weekend?
Dude, I am all in on Justin Thomas this week. This dude couldn't ask for somebody in better form right now. His last 4 starts was a win and 2 second places. And I think the other was like a 14th or something like that. He's got great history at Quail Hollow. There's nobody in like overall better form right now to me than JT. And not to say that Spieth couldn't pull one out. He's a great player, and after coming back from surgery, like he's starting to come back into form. But when you look at their form comparatively side by side, JT has all the momentum going his way, and Spieth surprisingly is not in any of my lineups this week. JT definitely is. And like I said, the dude is pretty much on fire, a win and two runner up. The dude's playing really well. He's playing lights out right now. He's super confident right now, which is half the battle, especially when you're playing a field this strong, is that you got to come out hot because everybody else is going to be,
Absolutely.
And speaking of a couple of runner-up finishes, Xander Schauffele is another player at the very top of my picks this week.
Next name I was going to ask you about.
Well, great minds think alike, I guess, there, Caleb.
Help me.
But,
I meant to look this up, and I totally forgot to. Is he a former PGA winner, or was he a U.S. Open?
I believe he was U.S. Open winner.
In L.A., right?
Finished, correct.
Okay.
But he has actually finished runner-up at this tournament the last 2 years in a row. So his form is there. You want to talk about a horse for the course. Xander is that guy. And he's coming into form too. He hasn't had a start. I think his worst start in the last 4 tournaments is like a 18th. So, even if he's not winning, he's still towards the top of that leaderboard and super consistent, man, which is, extremely important when you're going up against a field like this, because you can't afford to have one bad day. All 4 days need to connect to win this tournament.
Now, how about 2 guys that I have always really enjoyed watching, one in particular that I've talked about a whole lot with you and Chris before in the past, but both on the
Ricky
LIV
Fowler.
Tour. Huh? No,
Okay.
I'll bring him up in a second because he's in the field. My guy's in the field. Ricky's my guy. But I'm talking about the 2 LIV guys, and Brooks and Bryson. Obviously, Bryson had the epic meltdown, if you will, on Sunday in the Masters and just couldn't put it together. Brooks kind of has been non-existent in majors-ish over the last couple of years, kind of there, but not really. But he's obviously, we know what he can do in the majors when the time comes. Both of them have played well in this tournament in the past. What do you expect to see from those bigger names, who have, by the way, both been invited to some type of get-together for the Ryder Cup USA team? I think they both need to be on the team, but that's a story for another day. But what do you think about those 2 this weekend?
Well, Bryson, you can't write off Bryson in any given week. Sure, he melted down on Sunday, right? But prior to Sunday, there was a good chance he was going to win. He put 3 really good rounds together, and Bryson is he's a major champion. He knows what it takes to finish it out strong, and he had a poor Sunday. And how are you not going to have a poor Sunday when you're up against Rory, trying to beat him out for the career Grand Slam. Like, as much pressure was on Rory was probably on Bryson at the same time.
Sure.
So and golf's hard, man. So it's hard to put 4 rounds together, but if anyone can do it, Bryson can. He's a hot golfer right now. He's got the firepower. If the putter can stay consistent for him, I think you're going to see him right there towards the top, because nobody's really out driving him at the course. Rory can maybe get close and maybe outdrive him on a few holes, but other than that, Bryson's always got the firepower. But though, similar to our Masters talk in regards to Brooksy, man, the guy's just, there's no motivation there. I think that was pretty apparent in the last tournament as well. And with a lot of these live guys, like, they're getting so much money whether they finish first or last, that for the ones that don't really care as much about the tradition and the PGA and all these other things, I think Brooks is one of those guys, and I think you probably see him finish, between 30 and 40. Be my
Do you
guess.
think you ever see Brooks win another major?
I don't know, man. I think he was Mr. Major himself.
That 2-year stretch there was ridiculous. Maybe 3-year if you want to go a little bit more, but
sure,
he's got
but
5 total, right? I'll look it up. You talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
Topic,
I want
major
to say
championships.
I want to say 5, might be 4. I think it's 4, but it might be 5. Regardless, with golf, it's all about the mindset and the motivation, right? When there was interviews with him where they were like, "Hey, like, can you explain how you performed so well at this first round?" And he's like, "Well, I practiced. I don't really practice for the it was 5, of course it was.
He's got
I don't
3
really practice for the
PGAs.
tournaments, but
Damn.
Brooks got 3 PGAs and 2 U.S. Open.
But when was that last one?
So,
4 years ago?
And that's
3
the
years
thing.
ago?
This is where it gets interesting, because it's the PGAs were 2018, 19, and 23, and then the U.S. Opens were 17 and 18. So that's why there's that 2-year stretch where he had 4 of them. But
Yeah.
the PGA in 23, it's not that long ago. A 2-year stretch in golf from a major is nothing, right? I mean, in all honesty.
Yeah, yes and no, brother.
You start getting 6, 7, 8 years, I would say, okay, yeah, that's a little bit different. But 2 years that's not crazy.
The last time he won it, he was a member of the PGA Tour.
No, I do understand that. That's why this is different,
Since joining Liv, he hasn't shown up in any tournament.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I think until he does decide to show up and does hold a press conference where he actually feels focused and like, hey, I'm in contention, and he's not, him and
not everybody out here. I'm here to win, not hang out. That Brooks, like, we need that guy back for a couple tournaments.
Exactly. That's not him. I think him and DJ are just partying with their wives on their yachts and collecting a paycheck for playing golf, which is a pretty awesome thing to do. But do I think that he's on a campaign to win or in that mindset? No, not even close.
Okay. Who would you say? I know with the Masters, you and Chris both had a couple long shots, dark horses. Call them what you want, but guys that could really win, but maybe haven't been playing well lately, or this is kind of their first couple time in majors, or they've never quite won one but are close. Who are you looking at this year as those guys that maybe you don't normally expect to see on the leaderboard, but you expect to see Sunday?
Well, there's a couple names. One I think is a name that it's not a super uncommon name, but he's he's very consistent, and that would be Mr. Corey Connors. The Canadian has been playing pretty well as of late. He's super consistent, incredible iron player. Coming off a T8 at the Masters, he always performs well in major championships. And at Quail Hollow, he's got great history. He's another one of those guys like Xander that I think his worst start is like a T20, and most of them are in the teens. I think he definitely had a top 10 a couple years ago, I think. So, Corey Connors is definitely up there for me. It's not a super consistent name, but, has been playing well enough pretty consistently that, he's not going to be a high DraftKings guy, but the chances of him finishing top 15 to maybe top 5 is good, is pretty good. And the other one that I don't think is getting much of attention, and if you're looking again at those DraftKings fantasy lineups, this guy is sub 7,000, which is the lowest tier that there is, but it's Harris English. He is another very consistent player. He finished 12th at the Masters. He is another one of those guys that always steps up in bigger tournaments. He finished 11th last week at the Truist. And he's definitely playing pretty well. Like I said, 12th at the Masters. He was 18th the week before that. So the dude's playing pretty well right now. And, but he's not a household name by any means. And he had a stretch where he wasn't playing super well, but I'm actually looking up his stats right now, and the last he hasn't missed a cut since January. So the dude is playing pretty well.
So since the start of the season, basically, is what you're telling me?
Since the start of the season, more or less, yeah. The dude's been playing pretty consistently. But none of them are the last win that I'm seeing of his was the Farmers of this year, so he definitely has the mental mindset to be able to play 4 rounds and finish on a Sunday. But he's a lot of these times he's hovering between 10 and 20. With obviously if he won the Farmers, he has the capability to win, and that's not his first win either. So he's high on my list, especially for an inexpensive guy that has a lot of potential.
Last 2 questions here. First one, what do you think about that quote unquote second tier of guys? Not that top marquee name, if you will, but the kind of the upper coming or the staunch vet in the the Abergs or the Lowrys, that type, what we saw from Rose at the Masters. Do you see any of them breaking through or competing and being there Sunday afternoon to possibly contend?
Well, you mentioned somebody like Oberg. Him, I think he has the potential to be able to pull something out. He's a young guy that just likes to go play good golf. He's not super emotional. And if he has a bad hole, he might follow it up with a birdie the very next hole, which is definitely what you need for tournaments like this. And so, the young guys like him, yeah, absolutely, because their mindset is a little different, I think, and they just want to go out and play good golf. Someone like Justin Rose, this week, I don't really see it. He burned me last week at the Truist by withdrawing due to an illness. But, the dude was +8 after day 1. So who knows how ill he was. But obviously, finished runners-up at the Masters. But, other than that, he's really hit or miss. It's either like he's not going to perform very well or he's going to be top 5. And he's getting up there in age where, he just performed really well at the Masters. Do I think he's going to follow it up again? No, I don't.
All right.
But if
Last
you want to talk
Oh.
about someone like Shane Lowry, like you said, that was the last name that you pulled up. Him and Rory are riding high, and I think there's they're obviously great friends, but there's, I think, some friendly competition there also. And Lowry had the chance to win it last week and beat his buddy Rory, and so but he didn't win. But I think that he still has that mental game and that stamina and that want to go out and get a win, especially when there's firepower like this. And Rory's in the field. Rory pushes him to play better, and
Sure.
and I think this is a good example of that for him.
I love that. Okay. So what I do hear a lot of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but not necessarily that a lot of guys have a chance to win, but you expect a lot of guys to play good golf. And that leads me to my next question. If that is true, is that because of the golf course or just guys playing really well? Meaning, Quail Hollow isn't necessarily this well-known, prestigious, established course that's been on a lot of major championship rosters, if you will, as far as which courses are going where. It's had a couple tournaments, obviously, but it doesn't have that lineage, that history, if you will. And then the PGA on top of that has been known to, I don't want to say the easiest major of the 4, but maybe the one known to see some of the lower scores at times. So where do you see the course itself playing this week and being a factor as the antagonist of the story, if you will, for all the golfers?
Well, they did make some changes, so it is a little bit longer than it has played in past. So obviously, longer hitters are going to have a little bit more of an advantage. But for the regardless of if it's the PGA or the Masters or the FedEx Cup Championship, like, a major is a major, and the players want to go out and they want to perform better at this major, regardless of where it's hosted, right? And these guys are so good, and they've done practice rounds. And even when I mention guys like Scotty that are like playing at Quail Hollow for the PGA for the first time, it's not the first time he's played Quail Hollow, and
Right.
And these guys have all, their caddies are out walking everything. Like, I don't think the course plays nearly as much into the competition as the actual competition does. When these lesser known guys, and I shouldn't even say lesser known guys, because if you're playing in a major, you're playing in a major, right? But if you have like a Jake Knapp or a Kurt Kitayama or something like that, and they know that this week, if they want to win, they've got to go beat Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele and Justin Thomas. Like, they are more playing a head game with, all right, I have to compete with these guys and I've got to play well, as opposed to, all right, I need to hit to this spot on this green to have a chance. I just think the mentality is a lot different, and the course is, it's going to play really well. It's not going to be like an Augusta by any stretch. But these guys aren't going to be playing the course. They're going to be playing their game, and they're going to be watching the leaderboard to see what they need to do in regards to everybody else around them.
I love that. Nice. All right. Before we end this, you got to do it. Who's winning? Give us your pick for the weekend.
I've got to go Xander. I said I was
like
all
that.
in on him. He's been the runner-up 2 years in a row. He's super consistent. He hasn't had a win in a while, so I feel like he's due. So this week, Xander's my guy.
Nice. Nice. All right. Well, good sir. As always, we appreciate your wisdom on the beautiful game that is golf and the major championship options that you have when you start watching this weekend. We will obviously be having you back. Chris couldn't make it this week. Otherwise, he would have been back with us as well. But we've got more coming up in the weeks to follow, and we'll go from there. As always, if you would like to stick around, you are more than welcome to join. If you have prior obligations that you need to sneak off to, we appreciate you as always.
I'm going to watch the Nuggets game, boys, and have some beers. Cheers.
Thanks,
Later.
sir. Later, buddy.
Later, boys.
So, yeah, little golf insight for the big tourney. What do you guys
Love
think?
it.
Sure.
I mean, I enjoy watching golf. I definitely am not as up to with all the names and things, but I do definitely enjoy it, and I love getting out to play when I can. So,
Well,
I'm
and the fun
excited.
about, like, for someone like Robert, Pinky could care less because he's probably not going to watch it at all. But the fun for someone like Robert who's going to tune in but doesn't really know, Chase giving you some names to think about and talk about,
Absolutely.
you know, as you're watching the tournament, that's going to help you kind of be able to
Right.
tune in a little bit more.
And I know some names, like some of these names are like, oh, I know that guy. And then they're like the live guy that you all were talking about. I have no idea who that is, but okay, I'll be watching for him. So cool.
Nice.
And I'll be quite honest, on a quick golf tangent, and I'll wrap it up to get to NBA. But like one of my favorite movies, sport movies, is actually The Greatest Game Ever Played with Shia LaBeouf. I feel like it's a very, I feel like it's.
I was hoping you were going to
it's
say
not
Tin Cup,
the-
but still, you went with a solid
it's not-
option. So
It's not the best golf movie. Tin Cup is great. I mean, I also love The Legend of Bagger Vance. I mean,
it's good.
so, but anyway, let's move on to NBA. I know Pinky's chomping at the bit. You keep seeing him react down here while he's on mute. So, like, let's get into it.
Well, we talked Nuggets last, especially since it's still going on, and it might be at halftime by the time we get to that point.
Okay. That's okay.
But
I feel like
I think we got to
with
start.
Pacers. Pacers.
Well, I think we start in New York.
You think? Okay.
New York and Boston.
Okay. Hey, shout out Jason Tatum.
Well, that's what I wanted to get to. I'm not a Jason Tatum fan. There's just something about him. I don't know. I do say he's very talented. I think I see what Caleb, when I watch him play, I see exactly what Caleb says. He's the most inconsistent superstar there is. There are nights like last night, he's on fire. And then there's nights where like you wonder if he played in the second half of a game. To be the face of the league, to be the superstar, you can't be that guy. You should always be leaving an impact on the game. So in that situation, though, last night I was watching it. I saw it happen, and immediately the media, Bleacher Report, ESPN, everybody's like, "Oh, it's an ankle," and I was like, "Bullshit! His ankle doesn't roll.
Nope.
It doesn't move." I was like, "That's an Achilles."
It is launched. Yeah, he launched and it was over.
I was really hoping for a torn calf muscle. Like, I was really hoping, because you didn't see necessarily the same explosion pop that you've seen in other athletes in some replays. And that could have been because of the compression socks or whatever he was wearing. But, yeah, reported this afternoon he went through surgery for a ruptured torn Achilles. He's going to be out for a long time. And you never truly know what an athlete's going to look like after coming back from that injury.
Yeah,
it looks like now they've kind of got some things figured out to where you're going to come back just fine as long as you do the rehab, the right amount of rehab and stuff. KD's a pretty good example. I mean, he looks all right, but we'll see. It's still that's still one that the body doesn't. You never quite know how it's going to react, and someone like JT losing their bounce could be a very big deal. So that's look.
And that could be.
Have I been maybe hard on him in my critiques or things of that nature? Sure, but I would say it's all been fair. Pinky, would you agree? Like, I've never been unjustly.
And again, I don't dislike Jason Tatum. I just don't think he's the superstar that a lot of people want to put out there.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I even said I thought he should have been the Finals MVP last year. I thought his all-around game, the way he played all around, I saw him take his game to another level, and I gave him his props for that. I didn't quite see that same Tatum this year, and especially this series. And we've talked about it before, them unwilling to change their play style when they're not hitting shots from the outside. Like there's some issues there, but hey,
and I
let me
think they
say this,
coasted.
Pinky, and then you jump in and go from there. But I'll eat all the crow with New York when I said I didn't think they had any true title hopes. I am completely sorry. New York, stand up. Orange and blue skies, all of those great things. I'll take it a step further. Not only will I eat all my crow and say you didn't have any true title chances, the way I'm watching this team play and the way Tibbs is actually using some of the depth, they're legit title contenders now, in my mind. Not just somebody who could come out of the East and play somebody in the West. I truly believe with their rotation and the way they're all playing, New York legit true title contenders right now the way they're playing.
I would still pick. I would probably still pick the Thunder, and I think I'd pick any team out of the West over them right now in that matchup. But I think they have a good shot. They got to win one more game against Boston, very doable, and I do think they have a good shot to beat the Pacers. So it could be New York in the finals, and their fan base will go crazy. They've been bad for so long. I kind of like. This is the moment in sports where I'm like, when a fan base that's really had to live through a lot of garbage and they finally get to that moment. If the Nuggets aren't in it and the Knicks play the Thunder, I think I would be okay with either team winning. If the Knicks play the Timberwolves, I'd be okay with either team winning in that point. It'd be nice to see that fan base have something to be happy about. They've gone through a lot of misery for a very long time. So
Sure. I've always been a fan of two Eastern Conference teams. Well, not always, I should say. One I've always been. The other one was a little bit newer as far as actually being a quote unquote fan, if you will, and that's New York. I've always liked New York because it's the mecca of basketball. So I always had a thing for the Garden and the Mecca. And if you have a thing for the Garden and the Mecca, you kind of just naturally don't dislike the Knicks. I never rooted for them, but I never disliked them. And then I like Chicago. And it's not for what most people think in Michael Jordan. Yes, I love Michael Jordan. I love the Bulls, but I wasn't a Chicago Bulls fan. I was a Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen, and I was
Horace
a
Grant.
Chicago Bulls. Yeah. I was
Bill
a Bulls
Cartwright.
of the 90s fan, a Michael Jordan Bulls fan, not necessarily a organizational fan.
I'm a not alive fan.
I became a slightly bit of an organizational fan after the Jordan era when Jamal Crawford showed up there and was doing things as a young guy. And then Derrick Rose, I've got all the feelings in the world for Derrick Rose, so that kind of continued it. So since Jamal Crawford, I've actually kind of been a slight little bit of a fan. Again, not that I root for them, but I definitely don't root against them. So those two teams I've kind of always had this thing for, and part of it is because of the cities. I love Chicago and the history of it, and that mob, Windy City, all that stuff that goes into the blue collar-ish of it, if you will.
Long live the Pope.
Holler. My Catholic people stand up. And, it's because of that, I've kind of always liked seeing what they can do. And where I'm getting with this, Pinky, is you are absolutely right. In the James Dolan era of the Knicks has had to watch fans suffer for so many different reasons. The fact that they've got a legit squad doing what it is right now, and Jason Tatum injury aside, it looked like they were on their way to going up 3-1 anyways. And you go up 3-1, right. It's like a 90% time you're going to win the series anyways. So even with Jason Tatum playing, it looked like the Knicks were going to advance. Without Jason Tatum playing, I don't see how the Knicks don't close this out in the next game, in all honesty. If Boston manages to win, good for them. It's at home. They found some willpower.
I could see Boston getting game 5.
A lot of talent. But no, man, the way New York's playing right now, dude, like I'm loving it. I'm loving watching it. From Brunson being that dude and a supreme closer to OG Anunoby playing a great role to Miles Bridges and his defense late in games. Cat's playing great. Miles Robinson. Is it Miles Robinson? Why am I drawing a blank? Robinson is playing great. There's Josh Hart. There's just this camaraderie with the Knicks where you're watching this great team ball going down, and they are on a roll right now, a very big roll. On the opposite side of that, on the Eastern Conference, you have the Cavaliers looking just anemic, and you have the Indiana Pacers looking like the New York Knicks, playing insanely great team ball with a great lineup. Halliburton's a dog at the point guard position. You've got Neimark. You've got Miles Turner. You've got Siakam, who's really damn good as a possible second option. O'Connell. They've got guys that are playing together, and they're a little bit deeper in the way that rotation is playing right now. They closed the series out tonight in Cleveland. It's done. So I just another team that I said did not have a chance. And Cleveland had some injuries. They had some issues. They didn't ever seem to get it together. They looked bad, and they got rolled.
To have one of the best seasons of all teams, and to have this result is awful. I feel bad for their fans.
It's unfortunate, but I don't know what to make of Indiana, where I think New York's a true title contender now after watching them. I watch Indy, and
They just gotta pace themselves. See what I did there?
Goodness. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, appreciate it.
Gotta go for the good ones, son.
I don't know what to make of Indy. They're playing really good basketball right now. Can they do that again in the next round? Can they do it against a team that's not injured, that's not out of sorts, that for whatever reason isn't showing up? I don't know.
They may get outpaced. We'll have to see.
I do like the Pacers matchup.
They're just
against
layups.
The Knicks.
They're just easy layups.
The Pacers play a fast they play a fast style of basketball, and I do think that they have the ability to beat the Knicks. I think that'll be a fun series, so I look forward to that.
It very well could be old 90s style, the way both of them have been playing physical brand of basketball as well. So that will be interesting, because you're right, Pinky. They can both go up and down the court. Out west, look, Steph Curry went down, and that pretty much all but sealed that series.
They got to steal tonight. Or is that tomorrow? Tomorrow. They've got to get that game.
They lost yesterday, and that put them down 3-1. If they don't win tomorrow, it doesn't get to Game 6, then there's no chance of Steph coming back. I'd still be surprised if he plays in a Game 6. If Steph's in that series, you have a 7-game series, a legit series that could go either way. Without Steph, you lose so much firepower, and like Steve Kerr said, you have to change your rotations, and all these other things start getting mixed up, that guys start playing minutes they're not used to or positions they're not quite ready for, and it completely changes what the team looks like and the chemistry. And that's hard to overcome. Now, one thing I will say that I've been wondering for a long time, and it has been answered, and now there's a whole nother set of questions. Why are they not playing Jonathan Kuminga on a regular basis? Because the dude looks like he's been ready to ball for a long time. He's getting an opportunity to do it, and he's killing it. But they were barely playing him when Steph was healthy. So I don't know what to say about that whole situation there. But it would be something I'll be looking into a little more.
He's played some good basketball. So they really need to it's just crazy, man. If they had Steph, we have no idea where this series is at right now if they had Steph playing.
Now, all that being said, I did pick Minnesota to be in the Western Conference Finals. I wouldn't have changed that one way or the other, no matter how much I love Steph, and everybody knows how much I love Steph. But part of the reason I picked Minnesota is because I said I think Anthony Richardson is a dog. And I think he's ready to start looking at possibly taking some of these next steps.
Anthony Edwards.
What did I say?
Richardson.
Oh, gross. No, that's not my bad.
I don't know where you got that one.
Crazy. I don't either. Thank you for calling that out quickly. Anthony Edwards is a dog. And the show he put on last night was proof positive of that. This young man is fun to watch. And when he gets rolling and you see his energy start disseminating through that team and that team starts vibing off of him, look, like it or not as a Nuggets fan, that team is fun to watch. And they are deep. And they can play both sides of the floor. I don't see any way, in all honesty, Golden State wins another game, which means Minnesota is going to be sitting and resting, waiting for the winner of Denver and OKC.
These refs in this game are freaking awful. But they have been all
for
series.
Every time I heard you say that during a
Forgive
Nuggets
his
season.
homerness, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
Forgive
it's not homerness, man. There's multiple
If I
times
had
we're
$1
going up and getting hit and no call. SGA or Jalen Williams goes up and they get a call, and we get hit just the same way. Like they don't call it the same.
They have been very inconsistent. I won't say it's been bad one way or the other per se.
Joker for 3. Let's go.
Are you going to talk about the series?
I was about to
or are you
say
just gonna sit there
we're
and
waiting
watch it,
on
be
you
quiet,
now.
and,
Sorry. I got all excited. The
Good
Nuggets are
Lord.
playing pretty good basketball
this
tonight.
is all we see, but he refuses to participate.
Hold
in
on.
shape or form.
You were getting so deep in golf, and Cotton can talk about golf. You know that if we let him keep going.
You told me 15-20. I told him 15-20. We held to that 15-20.
I asked for 30, so I'm waiting.
Yeah, he's already given up time.
Well,
all right.
It's not my fault. Somebody decided they're just going to throw in WWE and the NFL schedule release. I'm just saying.
Hey, we were killing time till Cotton got on the show. As soon as he got on the show, we were good.
We could have been talking about my basketball. I'm just saying.
Let's talk the Nuggets. Let's go. I'm tired of wasting time. I got stuff to talk about. If we're not going to talk about it, I'm hijacking it.
This series is all dependent on this game. Whoever wins this game is winning the series.
Oh, that's an interesting take. Pinky.
I don't think it's interesting. Because if OKC wins this game, we go to Denver, we win Game 6, we force Game 7. I don't like our odds Game 7 in OKC. Denver wins tonight. I think they close out in Game 6. We're all good. So, again, it's who wins tonight. The Nuggets had a really great opportunity to win the game the other night. And in the fourth quarter, they just shit their pants and did not come through. Unfortunately, it's basically the Joker. Same thing that normally happens. Joker sits. OKC comes back. We were up 8 in the fourth quarter. Joker sat, and then they go on their run. And the next thing you know, we're down. So, and then we just could never. We were down 5. We were down 7. We were down 3. We could just never get back to where we needed to be. So. It's an interesting series. It's been really weird. We've created history. The Nuggets had the most points scored against them in a half in playoff history. And the following game, or in the fourth game, both teams combined tied for the second or the lowest score of all time in a first quarter in NBA playoff history. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's been a lot of ups and downs in this series. I think it's funny that people keep talking about Jokic and how bad he's played the last 2-3 games, and yet his numbers are still top tier league.
But they're not Joker numbers. They're just
I get it, but that's what's so wild, and people have to say that, right? They go, he's not been playing well. His numbers are really down. Well, they're down for Jokic because when they go look at the stats, they're gonna be like, he went 24, 20, and 8. Oh, it was on 30% shooting. Okay, but they have to caveat it. And if you're having to caveat that and say oh, these are still incredible numbers, they're just not Jokic numbers, maybe then that MVP conversation should have been a whole lot different throughout the course of the year. And I'm not saying necessarily that you had to change your vote. Just the way you went about talking about Jokic and what he was doing should have been different. And now we're seeing these two in SGA and Jokic go back and forth, game in and game out on these roller coasters. And neither team ever seems like they're panicking, regardless of the situation. Even when Denver lost by like 50, that they came back and won the next game. There is no panic in either one of these teams. SGA lost in Denver. He walked off the court smiling and lifting his teammates up because he said he knew it was a series. He's not worried about it. This is going to be a 7-game. I kind of said that from the beginning. I did pick Denver for a lot of different reasons, but we're getting the series I expected to see. A deeper OKC team that can run a lot of people at Jokic, and SGA can do work. Denver on the other side has to basically get really good games from their starters, and one guy from the bench has to step up halfway. And that's what we've been seeing in the wins and losses. When those things happen, you're getting wins. When they don't, you're getting losses for each team. So it's been really fun. I think what this series is doing the most is the people who laughed at me when I said I was going to pick Denver or called me an idiot or blah this and blah that. They're having to reevaluate what they thought about at the beginning of this series when they thought OKC was going to boat race Denver on their way to the Western Conference Finals. I've heard a lot of pundits and a lot of people who pick OKC that have drastically had to change their tune because we have a series now and they didn't expect to have one. And now they're having to actually do analysis on the games individually and what the possibilities and those outcomes could be.
Unfortunately, if we had gotten a big Joker game in Game 5 like we were hoping for.
Game 4.
This is
Game 5.
He's actually having a pretty good game tonight. Yeah. Game 4, we probably win that game. That was kind of that missing point that we just weren't getting the production from him. And credit their defense. Although, again, it comes back to the refs. I don't see them calling it both ways most of the time. And I understand that Jamal and Aaron Gordon and Joker are not Jalen Williams and Shea. They don't move. They don't do all that. They're still getting hit a lot and not having any fouls called. It's crazy. In today's game, we've got so many fast break points where we're going to the bucket and we get hit, no call, right? That just irritates me. It's like playing the Lakers. You don't get the calls playing the Lakers. It's not called fair both ways. I hate that. If you're calling it fair both ways, I'm cool with it. That's fine. But when it's very obvious you're not, I have an issue. And these refs have been that way all series.
I think that sounds a little homerish, but I think the refs have been pretty inconsistent. So I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. I just don't see it in necessarily the same lens as what you're saying. Last thing. I really like what you said, and it's pretty interesting because I had just been kind of consumed with the idea of this going 7 for so long that I hadn't given a whole lot of thought to if Denver wins this, can they close out in 6? And I do actually think that is highly possible, actually, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, as it's running through my brain after you said it. They win tonight, closing out at home actually feels very doable for them. I like them winning at home in Game 6 regardless of tonight's outcome. So if they win, that's interesting. But boy, it's been a fun series. And you're seeing, regardless of what people want to say about Jokic being not good the last couple of games, that's not good by his all-time great standards. Okay, people? He's still putting up insanely good numbers. So what you're seeing from SGA and down Jokic is still two really damn good players leading some really good core group of players to some really good games in what should be a great series.
I mean, at the end of the day, we've talked about it. OKC has so much depth that SGA only plays like 30 some minutes, where Joker has to play 42.
Yeah, a lot.
You know,
and that's why people have been talking about him maybe not playing as good. Usually, if your shot is short, it's a telltale sign that your legs are not there. If your legs aren't there, it usually means you're a little worn down, you're tired. Can he get enough rest, bounce back, stay in the series, 7 games? That's going to be a question.
You're talking, he played, he averaged quite a bit of minutes in the regular season. We already went a 7-game series with the Clippers. Now we're in a tough series with OKC. He's a little worn out. It'd be nice to get, if we had a 3-day break between games, I feel like he'd be doing pretty good right now. But with it every other day, it's not giving him that time to rest. So
it is what it is. It's going to be interesting to see how these playoffs close
Robert,
out.
final thought on the Nugs?
Nuggets better pull it off. If the Nuggets don't win, then I'm gonna go for the Knicks because my boy Timmy, that's just how it's gonna be. But
Timmy?
that's all I have to say. Timothy Chalamet,
Oh,
Timothée.
He's my Hollywood spirit animal for sure. He's
Except,
a fan.
yeah,
He's a true fan.
Yeah,
I was going to say, Eastern Conference Finals look like they're going to be starting a lot sooner than the Western Conference, most likely before we're on air again next week. So we'll be talking about that. Western Conference may or may not have started by that time. It'll be interesting to see. But we're getting a lot of good basketball right now. For all the shit people wanted to talk about the NBA product as a whole and where it's at and the old heads and this and that and the other, I think personally we have been getting some really good playoff basketball in a lot of scenarios. Maybe you've seen some blowouts and things of that nature in certain series, but as a whole, I think we've seen some great basketball.
Robert, can we steal 5 more minutes?
That's just mean I'm adding on time now because you've already taken away 15 minutes from me. So
we can't wait another week to talk about the conspiracy of the Dallas Mavs getting the number 1 pick.
Oh yeah, we can. I've got a whole segment for that. Don't worry.
No, that video's hot now. We need that video for this week. We need to talk about it this week. If we prolong it, we prolong it. But it's not a 20-minute conversation. Look, we talked about it when the trade was made.
Have you, Pinky? Meet Caleb. Caleb, meet Pinky. You should talk for 20 minutes about NBA, and then there you go. Because that's exactly what will happen when we start talking about this.
I mean, if you're really going to talk about it, it's a 20-minute,
it's a 20-minute.
It's old news next week, though, guys. I'm sorry. It's old news.
You're talking about the NFL schedule release tonight.
We were killing time before Cotton came on.
Things that don't really need to have a conversation.
I'm done. Talk about whatever the fuck you want. I'm done.
That should be one of our reels this week, then.
Oh, goodness.
That Caleb needs for 15.
Robert, go right ahead, sir.
All right. Well, first off, I also put on a Nike shirt because everybody else was wearing Nike, so I felt left out because I was wearing Adidas, so that had to change. That's why that wardrobe happened in the middle of the show, so that way I'm not left out. So just to throw that out there. I put this question out there late last week for you both to ponder over. Pinky answered pretty quickly, but I mean that's okay. Who is your favorite all-time movie robot and why? It is whoever wants to go first. I will save mine for the last because it's not what you will expect.
I got it.
Yeah, it's a hard question.
So, I had a hard time answering this for a lot of different reasons. I'm not as big into the sci-fi AI kind of stuff in the same way that you and Pinky are. So
that's why it's a great question.
So I don't know if I've had quite a favorite. And what's funny is my first thought was Darth Vader.
He's not.
I was like, well, that's not a robot. That's not that's a cyborg.
He's technically
right?
a cyborg,
right? So then I was
that doesn't quite fit the description.
I was like, okay, that's not quite it. So then I was like, well, R2D2 and C3PO are great. Choppers, money. That's Star Wars universe staying in there. I kept drawing a blank and I forgot to look it up again to remind myself for this conversation. But the robot from iRobot with Will Smith.
That was mine.
What's its name?
Sonny.
Sonny, thank you. That was the second one that really truly popped into my head just because of I really actually like the character and the complexities and the way they wrote that in, and then just the badassness ability that his creator made him with for the very specific reason of being a badass. was really super cool. The other one, and I'm sorry, Robert, I couldn't pick one. I really struggled with this really badly, and I don't quite know why. But the other one that I really kind of like is Wally.
Hey, that's a solid choice.
Just because of the story.
That's my top 3.
Okay, nice. Everything that it involves, and kind of the full circle moment of humans not being worthless and lazy and looking at coming back to Earth, and how he was able to overcome and make that happen is just kind of really cool, and almost overcoming his programming to go to a new level and rethink and relearn. So that's kind of the ones I kind of were going around in my head back and forth on, and I had a hard time. Funny enough, the one Pinky threw out there, like, I saw your question. I didn't see Pinky's response for a while, and I was just kind of working and doing my thing and thinking. Then I saw his. I was like, oh, that definitely should have been one of my first thoughts, and it wasn't at all. Like, I don't know why, but I didn't even think about it. And then he said that, and I was like, well, the one that fights him would be maybe another good option. But yeah, so that's kind of where I ended on things.
No, that's solid. No, those are all good choices. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of them. So having a mixture of them is good. So Pinky, with Caleb kind of giving you the softball layup there. Pinky, who's your favorite movie robot?
So I'm going to talk about 2 as well.
Nice.
The first one easily was Terminator, right?
You threw that out. So, and it's funny I missed your message.
He's like, I'm calling dibs.
Within like 30 seconds of Robert posting the question. Like, I don't know how I didn't see your response. But yeah, you threw that out. Like, you called dibs on it even.
Terminator.
You're like, dibs, I'm talking about it. It's mine.
I'm a child of the 80s, right? So I remember I watched Terminator on VHS. That's how old I am. And the original Terminator T-800 is a bad mofo. And then Terminator 2 comes, and they flip the script on us, and now he's a good guy. You know, Terminator 1, he's a bad guy. Terminator 2, he's the good guy, and he's learning, and he creates that bond and relationship. And what makes that movie so great is the relationship he builds with John Connor, right? That's what makes that movie so good. It's a great action movie, and then it's got that heart as part of the backbone of the movie that makes that so great. And then again, they continue it down the road, and when you just think about like the possibility of robots taking over, it's pretty terrifying. But that's why, yeah, Terminator is my number 1. My number 2 is actually the robot that inspired Wall-E. I don't know if you guys know.
Tell me you're going with Short Circuit.
It's Johnny Five, baby. Johnny Five. Again, child of the 80s. Short Circuit.
I thought about that
the
one.
Movie.
Yep.
Like, it's the movie.
Solid choices.
I love that, Pinky. That's a great pick. And I just thought of another one that probably should have been on my list and might actually be my favorite one as I think about it now. And this is more personal feeling because of the bond with my son and stuff and how much he loves this movie. But anyone out there, blah, 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 blah.
Baymax. I do that with my niece and nephew. That's their favorite thing.
Yeah. So that one's up there for sure as well.
I love it. Those are all solid choices.
So I stole your thunder, Robert.
You did. No, that's totally fine. No, that's totally fine. So, I love Sonny from iRobot, which will probably surprise a lot of our viewers, being the big Star Wars guy that I am. Growing up with Star Wars, robots, Jedi, Sith, like that was always my thing. But robots wasn't like that. That wasn't it for me in Star Wars. And then iRobot was one of the. And I'm sorry, gentlemen, for what I'm about to say. This was one of my very first Will Smith PG-13 movies to have ever seen. And that impact of the artificial intelligence of Sony and having the same quote-unquote emotion as a human, but didn't follow these 3 laws, but still was protecting humanity, really gave that, here's the gray area of where all of this coincides. Because you have the 3 laws for robotics, and then you have all of the entire American society is built off of robotics now. And then for all of that to essentially be taken over in an instant, and then having a robot be the hero in this case really changed how I was watching movies and how I look at robots in movies. So that's why he's one of my favorites. Is it really pushed a lot of that for me into sci-fi. Go ahead, Pinky.
What's the TV show on HBO with all the robots?
Westworld.
Westworld.
That's what's gonna be my
Westworld.
next one. That's my next one.
There we go.
So, and to kind of put it the nice little bow on this with I'm going with 3 on this one is he's played by the same guy, Alan Tudyk, who played Sonny and is K2SO in Star Wars, which would be my favorite droid in Star Wars because of his story, his personality, and with what they are telling in Andor right now is just awesome. And he is going to be a front runner for these next 3. Super excited for that. Don't really need to get into that much for Star Wars. I've talked enough about that on here enough. Finally, as Pinky mentioned, the Westworld robots. Simply for the fact that they were conditioned for many, many years to understand us as hosts and then to evolve the human society. And to watch that story unfold from what was an original, like I think it was 1960s or 70s movie.
Yeah.
And then to now give us a new revised version of it was amazing. It's still one of my favorite TV series that's come out in the last decade.
I only finished season 1. I did not pick it back up after that.
I've got seasons 2 and 3. So Pinky, if you want to borrow them, you can have them. I have them on digital if you want to watch them digitally.
I've got HBO Max. I can
Well, there you go. So yeah, great show, great story. Season 2 is actually my favorite of Westworld. I really loved how they kept that story unfolding, because at the end of season 1, you're really left like, oh man, the robots are taking over.
Lots of questions. Lots of questions.
But season 2 really picks right up, and it just doesn't stop. It's phenomenal. So those are my big favorite robots. So next, I actually wanted to talk about with you guys is the state of TV. Meaning, when you think of a series that's coming out, so, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, I mean, originally, we'd get every year. Every year, there's a season. Now we're going 2, 3... Pinky, I don't know if you know this, but it's been 3 years. It'll be 3.5 years since the first season of Peacemaker.
That's wild.
It's not even that. I'll take it a step further. It's not the wait between seasons. It's the length of said seasons at the same time.
You lose so much.
I am a TV junkie. I openly admit it. I've watched a lot. It was what my family did in our downtime. There wasn't a whole lot of money to do a whole lot else. So if we weren't outside playing with our friends, if it was midsummer too hot or if it was too dark out to play or something, my family was watching TV, and we would watch network television shows. And we would get into the shows and the story and know the characters and grow with them. And, you'd be sad when a series finale happened. So to go from that to where we are now, to where, it's reality TV, or if it is a good series, like Robert said, you're getting one season every 3 years, and then you're only getting 8 to 10 episodes a season.
And
which isn't enough to truly develop the same feelings and care that I used to have for some of the sitcoms and dramas and things that I would sit down and still watch with my dad or mom in a heartbeat because of the nostalgia that it would create or something like that.
absolutely.
Not to say we're not getting some quality TV or series or entertainment. We are, to an extent, but I feel like the stories are lacking in a lot of situations. They're either rushed or they're too slow, and then we're waiting too long for the next iteration. There's a lot of issues right now, and this is something I've actually thought about a lot over the last couple of years, Robert, and it's something that's bummed me out, because one of my favorite things to do actually was record my series, because there were so many on, I couldn't watch all the same ones in one night that were on one night, and you'd go back and you'd have other things to watch throughout the week. And I don't have that anymore, to the point where I've even talked to you guys, and I'm like, all right, guys, what am I watching? And you guys are
Yeah.
like, this, and this. I'm like, I've actually seen that. Like, damn, you're actually kind of caught up on most
Yep.
things. And I'm like, I don't have anything right now, and it's kind of really bumming me out.
Yeah. And the why I wanted to talk about this topic specifically is not that I'm a big fan of this. I've heard great things. It's something that it's on a list, but it's not on the list. Is The Handmaid's Tale, which I've heard great things about. Dystopian
My wife
universe.
liked it a lot.
And then so Caleb, you'll really understand this to a point. And this is from a user, I think, on like Tumblr or something. So this is how the new final season, which is the final season of Handmaid's Tale. The previous season came out in April or November of 2022, and that's when it ended. The final season premiered April 2025. In between this season, or the previous season, and now the current, this person has conceived a baby, had a baby, celebrated baby's first birthday, bought a house, moved into a new house, renovated house, started new work projects, watched so many other shows, changed lifestyles, got in shape. And between those times when I sit down to watch the new season, I don't even remember who the hell these people are.
And that has been one of my wife's biggest complaints. I don't have as much. I am lucky, I guess, in the sense that I am able to recall information with one of those little like season recap highlights, if you will, pretty easily and quickly. My wife is not. She's much more of a engrossed in the story. I'm good. If I'm not, it kind of goes away and other things will replace that information kind of thing. And so just that little season recap isn't enough. So a lot of times we'll have to go back and rewatch the season prior to then be able to watch the new season. And it's like sometimes that has caused us to not even watch the new season and just end watching series because we don't want to take the time to go rewatch something all over again.
Right. I have that. Like I go and rewatch it because I'm like, no, I want to like be in that moment and then catch that next season. I did that with Daredevil. I just watched that, which Daredevil, the new season is just
awesome.
It may be the best season. I know one was really damn good. This might be the best season. And then arguably the best season. When Peacemaker comes out in August, I will go back and watch that, but I'll do that just because it's fun. But other shows, I have gone back and rewatched the seasons, all of them, before the new season because of how long it's been. I will
do it with Peacemaker.
I know Stranger Things is coming soon.
Oh.
I might go back and rewatch all of Stranger Things to lead into the next season.
That's not terrible because they're only like 8 episodes a season, so that's like...
Right. It's doable.
But again, that goes back to the timing line, right? Like these kids are now in their mid-20s and they're supposed to be teeny boppers. Like this doesn't work anymore, guys.
It's tough because there's so much. We are in the golden age of television that there is so much.
Oh no, I would fully disagree. Golden age television was probably the mid 90s.
Not a chance.
You're talking streaming. There's a big difference, Pinky.
You're so many
streaming.
There is so many fantastic shows that are out right now.
Streaming.
And being created.
Not television. There's a big difference, in my opinion. Streaming and the money in streaming is much more Hollywood movie.
Cable and television is dead. The weekly 30-minute sitcom is dead, for the most part.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of one of the things I'm bummed about is I wish somebody would.
We're not going to ever get like a Big Bang Theory again, and that sucks.
I don't even necessarily need the sitcom per se, but if you're going to give me a series, give me weekly episodes and give me 20, 25. Not
See, I don't want that anymore.
10. It's ridiculous.
I
know it doesn't. I know it doesn't, Pinky. But the amount of story you could really tell in a 6 to 7, 8 season run of a show, if you did that, would be epic. And you don't need to go Lord of the Rings $1 billion for 10 episodes kind of thing. Like, that's overdone to an extent. You can just tell a good story with practical effects and it would go a long way still. And for whatever
One,
reason, that art has been lost to a varying degrees.
Andor specifically did that because it is practical. It is 12 episodes and tells a complete story. That's one of the many reasons why I respect it.
Well, one of the reasons they can get away with only doing 12 episodes and being really good is because there's a very clear beginning
path.
and end to what they're doing with nothing in between that you necessarily have to build up. As long as you're building up what needs to happen from the beginning to the end of what people already know is happening, right? So while by all accounts it's been phenomenal storytelling and I'd expect nothing less and I can't wait to watch it, that's different in the sense of a brand new drama, sitcom, whatever you want to call it, series starting from scratch and doing a yearly run, right? Because it's not an already existing entity that they're working with and they can pull from. So while it kind of straddles both in the epic storytelling, but still short run, and we had to wait 2 years in between Andor season 1 and 2. Like there was still a
it was
wait.
longer than that. It was like 2 years, I think.
Okay, so yes, Robert, I love that you brought this up because it's annoying. I hate it. There's really no excuse because it started all with the writer's strike right around COVID, right?
Yeah, 3 years. It's been 2 and a half.
Was it right before COVID that writer's strike happened, and then COVID happened?
No, so the writers' strike happened in 2020. What is 23? Because last year was kind of everybody was fixing everything. Because we were also supposed to already have had the Spider-Verse movie but with all of the delays that pushed that off completely.
Well, either way, so COVID and then the writer's strike, and then it's like we were supposed to be getting back to normal, and this wasn't supposed to still be the norm.
This wasn't,
and
yeah,
now
exactly.
they're making us swallow the fact that it is the norm, I guess, and it sucks. It does,
and
it really does.
Now, with some of that, I will say there are some shows who are making better strides. One of them being Fallout. We are already getting season 2 in December. They've finished filming. Amazon knows what the hell they're doing. They took a little bit longer for Rings of Power. We're already getting Rings of Power next year. So we're really turning and burning on all of that. I'm really excited.
Well, what's nice about what Amazon is doing, in all honesty, is they know they have 2 really good entities, and they're pushing those entities.
Right.
To move them forward, and if they already know the story's good, let's get them in production. Let's not wait. Let's not put them behind something. Let's put them out there now. By all accounts, Wheel of Time is one of those series I talked about.
Wheel of Time is great.
Took so long. My wife and I love season 1. We don't really know the books that took forever. So but season 2 took so long to come out. We didn't watch it. And we know isn't there a season 3 out now as well?
Yeah.
Right.
It just came out.
That's how far behind we are now because season 2 took so long that neither one of us, that is one series that for whatever reason, whatever was going on, we had our young kids and stuff. I didn't remember a whole lot of season 1 and I wanted to rewatch it again if we were going to watch season 2. And every time we went to go rewatch season 1, something else happened. We'd start something else instead. We didn't ever really want to go back and rewatch it to the point where I don't know if we'll ever get back into that series, even though we really liked it.
You got to watch it. But
now there's other stuff now that we're watching to catch up on, to take up our time, that it's a problem, Robert.
But really
Amazon is doing something that Netflix isn't, and they're taking care of their quality entities.
And this is one thing that I will say on some accord, that if you're going to do this, then do it the right way. And the right way to do this is and the only way that I can really find to describe it is with Invincible and with Pirates of the Caribbean. When Pirates of the Caribbean made their 2s and 3s, they shot them back to back, and then they released them within a year. Invincible did the same exact thing. We got season 1. We had to wait for 2.5 years to get season 2. That was broken up. Now we're getting seasons every year.
Lord of the Rings should have been the gold standard for everybody doing this. For whatever reason, they're not. But they filmed all 3 same time. Boom, boom, boom. Epic story. Everything's done now.
this will be my last thought on this, and then we'll move into my last topic. And the when you bring that up, Caleb, the only thing that hurts and sticks out in my mind more than anything is if they did that with the sequel trilogy for Star Wars, we probably would have actually gotten a better entity.
It would have been better than what it was. I don't know if I still would have liked it because where it
I
started
don't know if I
was a
would have liked
rehash,
it.
and JJ
I mean,
was a bad. That was a weak story to start with. But regardless, yes, okay.
yes. So, but anyway, that's where I will end that on that final note. But that being said, with Caleb already mentioning, with the writer strike and things, we are finally getting a summer of movies. So I'm gonna take you guys real quick through the next several weekends. Caleb, I know you're gonna find some way somehow to go see one of these with your wife at one point. Number one this weekend, I don't know if you guys really care about, but Final Destination Bloodlines, man. And the marketing for this has been great. I think it's hilarious. Seeing all the wood trucks and things, that's awesome. Next weekend, we've got the doubleheader. We've got Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch. I mean, I'm already talking about Mission Impossible. I'm super excited. I'm not a huge fan of the live action remakes. Lilo and Stitch actually looks to be somewhat decent. I will give it a chance. I will probably go see it at some point. I don't know if it'll be with my niece and nephew or if when it comes to streaming. But I'm looking forward to it. Then the following weekend, we got Karate Kid Legends with Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, which I haven't watched the Cobra Kai series. I'm still going to go see this movie. I don't know if I'm going to be left in the dust with it. We'll go from there.
Cobra Kai is good, man. I've seen season 1 and 2. It's good.
And then June 6th, we've got another big kind of weekend. We've got Ballerina with Ana de Armas and the John Wick universe, which
I'll be there.
And they haven't made a bad movie yet. The Continental show wasn't awesome, but I mean, this has the Baba Yaga in it, so you can't really go wrong. You also have the big Stephen King movie, The Life of Chuck, coming with Tom Hiddleston playing a big role. That's getting rave reviews, supposed to be like Shawshank Redemption level movie. So hoping that'll be good. And then the next big one we've got is How to Train Your Dragon live action, which Caleb, I hope you go and see that. I really do. It looks to be a shot for shot. I'm hoping. I really am. Again, I'm not a big live action person. They've ruined the last, I don't know how many for me. But we'll see where that goes. And then finally, we've got the F1 movie. That probably is going to be my sleeper of the summer. Not only is it about F1, which I've been really getting into lately, which Imola this weekend, let's go, Kimmy. Bring it home at home, baby. And then not only is it F1, but it was also produced and shot by the same gentleman who did Top Gun Maverick. So the sound design, the camera work, all of that I expect to be out of this world.
By all accounts, the racing sequences are supposed to be just...
I will say I am going into this movie with high expectations. Because of who's in it, who's producing it, what it's about, I expect this to be top-notch. So that's about a month and a half worth of movies. We'll finish the back half there in the middle of June as we get there. But a lot of great movies coming out, guys. Pinky, I know you and I are going to be catching some of these together. Caleb, maybe whichever one you're wanting to go see, we can make something happen. I got free movie tickets, so can do something. But
movies without the wife are probably the one thing that I will not do because that's the thing she loves doing.
I mean, I didn't say she couldn't come. She could always come.
Maybe
we could always make this a group effort.
We'll see how she feels. We'll see what happens.
So, but a lot of great movies coming out this year, fellas. Last year was kind of a dud, especially with getting so far into the summer and really Dune Part 2 being the best one to come out. So,
well, I like, don't say that like that was like a letdown. Like,
no, it wasn't a letdown at all. But
an epic movie release of any year in the past. So at least we got a really epic movie out of it, right? Like,
oh, absolutely. And I mean, for me, it was the best movie of the year last year. Like, nothing even held a candle to it at all. And now this year we're getting a lot of good stuff. So
it gave me a new appreciation
excited
for chainmail. So
hey,
just saying.
That's fair.
On that note, final thoughts from you good gentlemen on this fine Tuesday evening.
Well, Andor season finale, baby. We're gonna wrap that up, and then F1 in Italy this weekend. Let's go, Kimmy. He's my Mercedes driver, being a rookie, getting into it. He's gonna be probably my favorite driver for a while. And I'm really hoping that he can pull off his first pole at home. I think that would be pretty sweet. So
That'd be cool. Pinky, good sir.
Yeah.
Let's go Nuggets, man. We need some wins. Avs let us down. We need the Nuggets to pick us up. I'd like to see some basketball into late June. So let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Pinky, apologies to you for cutting you off and not letting you discuss the epic news that was for the NBA draft lottery. Look, I'm trying to keep us on time. I'm trying to be good about it week in and week out, regardless if that means I don't get to talk about one of my favorite subjects. So I love you, buddy. Appreciate your try and your effort there. Do not take those moments with your family, loved ones, inner circle, whoever you may consider that to be, for granted. Cherish them. Take advantage of them. Go do that family barbecue when you have the opportunity to, whatever that looks like. To anyone that supports us, like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever that may look like, we appreciate you more than you know. If you want to hear about something, you want to talk about something, reach out to us. Until next week, we're out.
See ya.
Peace.